Warning: the video you are about to watch may contain language and scenarios of a highly adult nature and is therefore not intended for children under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, what is up, guys? This is Couch Potato Mike coming to you from the book club again for another exciting chapter of Grey by E.L.James. I think we're moving right along into chapter 6 of this, but before we do, I just want to remind you guys that you need to ring the little bell icon, give me a thumbs up for that algorithm, and please subscribe because we are very fastly approaching 400 subscribers, and I am going to be doing a giveaway when we get to the 400 subscriber point. So come on, guys, help me out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into chapter 6 of Grey, which takes place on Saturday, May the 21st of 2011. Incidentally, this one is going to be a two-parter. It's a very long chapter, guys. So, part 1. Sorry. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, part 1. Saturday, May the 21st of 2011. Nearly 2 hours later, I come to bed. It's just after 1:45. She's fast asleep and hasn't moved from where I left her. I strip, pull on my PJ pants and a t-shirt, and climb in beside her. She's comatose. It's unlikely she's going to thrash around and touch me. I hesitate for a moment as the darkness swells within me. But it doesn't surface, and I know it's because I'm watching the hypnotic rise and fall of her chest, and I'm breathing in sync with her. In, out, in, out, in, out. For seconds, minutes, hours, I don't know. I watch her. And while she sleeps, I survey every beautiful inch of her lovely face, her dark lashes fluttering while she sleeps, her lips slightly parted so I glimpse even her white teeth. She mutters something unintelligible, and her tongue darts out and licks her lips. It's arousing. Very arousing. Finally, I fall into a deep sleep and dreamless slumber. It's quiet when I open my eyes, and I'm momentarily disoriented. Oh, yes, I'm at the Heathman. The clock at my bedside says 7:43. When was the last time I slept this late? Anna. Slowly I turn my head, and she's fast asleep, facing me, her beautiful face soft in repose. I've never slept with a woman. I've fucked many, but to wake up beside an alluring young woman in a new and stimulating experience. My cock agrees. This will not do. Reluctantly, I climb out of bed and change into my running gear. I need to burn off this excess energy. As I change into my sweats, I can't remember the last time I've slept so well. In the living room, I fire up my laptop, check my emails, and respond to 2 from Roz and 1 from Andrea. It takes me a little longer than usual, as I'm distracted knowing that Anna is asleep in the next room. I wonder how she'll feel when she wakes. Hungover? In the minibar, I find a bottle of orange juice and empty it into a glass. She's still asleep when I enter, her hair a riot of mahogany spread across her pillow, and the covers have slipped below her waist. Her t-shirt is ridden up, exposing her belly and her navel. The sight stirs my body once more. Stop standing here ogling the girl, for fuck's sake, Grey. I have to get out of here before I do something I'll regret. Placing the glass on the bedside, I duck into the bathroom, find 2 Advil in my travel kit, and deposit them beside the glass of orange juice. With one last lingering look at Anastasia Steele, the first woman I've ever slept with, I head out for my run. When I return from my exercise, there's a bag in the living room from a store I don't recognize. I take a peek and see it contains clothes for Anna. From what I can tell, Taylor has done well, and all before 9 o'clock. The man is a marvel. Her purse is on the sofa where I dropped it last night, and the door to the bedroom is closed, so I assume she's not left and that she's still asleep. It's a relief. Poring over the room service menu, I decide to order some food. She'll be hungry when she wakes, but I have no idea what she'll eat, so in a rare moment of indulgence, I order a selection from the breakfast menu. I'm informed it will take half an hour. Time to wake the delectable Miss Steele. She slept enough. Grabbing my workout towel and the shopping bag, I knock on the door and enter. To my delight, she's sitting up in the bed. The tablets are gone, and so is the juice. Good girl. She pales as I saunter into the room. Keep it casual, Gray. You don't want to be charged with kidnapping. She closes her eyes, and I assume it's because she's embarrassed. Good morning, Anastasia. How are you feeling? Better than I deserve, she mutters as I place the bag on the chair. When she turns her gaze to me, her eyes are impossibly big and blue, and though her hair is a tangled mess, she looks stunning. How did I get here? She asks, as though she's afraid of the answer. Reassure her, Gray. I sit down on the edge of the bed and stick to the facts. After you passed out, I didn't want to risk the leather upholstery in my car taking you all the way to your apartment, so I brought you here. Did you put me to bed? Yes. Did I throw up again? No, thank God. Did you undress me? Yes. Who else would have undressed you? She blushes, and at last she has some color in her cheeks. Perfect teeth bite down on her lip. I suppress a groan. We didn't, she whispers, staring at her hands. Christ, what kind of an animal does she think I am? Anastasia, you are comatose. Necrophilia is not my thing. My tone is dry. I like my women sentient and receptive. She sags with relief, which makes me wonder if this has happened to her before, that she's passed out and woken up in a stranger's bed and found he's fucked her without her consent. Maybe that's the photographer's modus operandi. The thought is disturbing, but I recall her confession last night, and she'd never even drunk before. Thank God she hasn't made a habit of this. I'm so sorry, she says, her voice is full of shame. Hell, maybe I should go easy on her. It was a very diverting evening, not one that I'll forget in a while. I hope that sounds conciliatory, but her brow creases. You didn't have to track me down with whatever James Bond gadgetry you're developing for the highest bidder. Whoa, now she's pissed? Why? First, the technology to track cell phones is available over the internet. Well, the deep net. Second, my company does not invest or manufacture any kind of surveillance devices. My temper is fraying, but I'm on a roll. And third, if I hadn't come to get you, you'd probably be waking up in the photographer's bed, and from what I can remember, you weren't overly enthused about him pressing his suit. She blinks a couple of times, then starts giggling. She's laughing at me again? Which medieval chronicle did you escape from? You sound like a courtly knight. She's beguiling. She's calling me out, again, and her irreverence is refreshing. Very refreshing. However, I'm under no illusion that I'm a knight in shining armor. Boy, she got the wrong idea. And though it may not be to my advantage, I'm compelled to warn her that there's nothing chivalrous or courtly about me. Anastasia, I don't think so. Dark Knight, maybe. If only she knew. And why are we discussing me? I changed the subject. Did you eat last night? She shakes her head. I knew it. You need to eat. That's why you were so ill. Honestly, it's drinking rule number 1. Are you going to continue to scold me? Is that what I'm doing? I think so. You're lucky I'm just scolding you. What do you mean? Well, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit down for a week after the stunt you pulled yesterday. You didn't eat, you got drunk, and put yourself at risk. The fear in my gut surprises me. Such irresponsible, risk-taking behavior. I hate to think what could have happened to you. She scowls. I would have been fine. I was with Kate. Some help she was. And the photographer? I retort. Jose just got out of line, she says, dismissing my concern and tossing her tangled hair over her shoulder. Well, the next time he gets out of line, maybe someone should teach him some manners. You're quite the disciplinarian, she snaps. Oh, Anastasia, you have no idea. An image of her shackled to my bench, peeled ginger root inserted into her ass so she can't clench her buttocks, comes to mind, followed by judicious use of a belt or strap. Yeah, that would teach her not to be so irresponsible. The thought is hugely appealing. She's staring at me, wide-eyed and dazed, and it makes me uncomfortable. Can she read my mind, or is it just looking at that pretty face? I'm going to have a shower. Wrong voice. I'm going to have a shower, unless you'd like to have a shower first, I tell her, but she continues to gape. Even with her mouth open, she's quite lovely. She's hard to resist, and I grant myself permission to touch her, tracing the line of her cheek with my thumb. Her breath catches in her throat as I stroke her soft bottom lip. Breathe, Anastasia, I murmur, before I stand and inform her that the breakfast will be here in 15 minutes. She says nothing, her smart mouth silent for once. In the bathroom, I take a deep breath, strip, and climb into the shower. I'm half tempted to jerk off, but the familiar fear of discovery and disclosure from an earlier time in my life stops me. Elena would not be pleased. Old habits. As the water cascades over my head, I reflect on my latest interaction with the challenging Miss Steele. She's still here in my bed, so she cannot find me completely repulsive. I noticed the way her breath caught in her throat and how her gaze followed me around the room. Yeah, there's hope. But would she make a good submissive? It's obvious she knows nothing of the lifestyle. She couldn't even say fuck or sex or whatever bookish college girl students use as a euphemism for fucking these days. She's quiet and innocent. She's probably been subjected to a few fumbling encounters with boys like the photographer. The thought of her fumbling with anyone irks me. I could just ask her if she's interested. No. I'd have to show her what she'd be taking on if she agreed to a relationship with me. Let's see how we both fare over breakfast. Rinsing off the soap, I stand beneath the hot stream and gather my wits for round 2 with Anastasia Steele. I switch off the water and, stepping out of the shower, grab a towel. A quick check in the steamed-up mirror, and I decide to skip shaving today. Breakfast will be here shortly, and I'm hungry. Quickly, I brush my teeth. When I open the bathroom door, she's out of bed and searching for her jeans. She looks up like the archetypal startled fawn, all long legs and big eyes. If you're looking for your jeans, I've sent them to the laundry. She really has great legs. She shouldn't hide them in pants. Her eyes narrow, and I think she's going to argue with me, so I tell her why. They were spattered with your vomit. Oh, she says. Yes, oh. Now, what do you have to say to that, Miss Steele? I sent Taylor out for another pair and some shoes. They're in a bag in the chair. I nod at the shopping bag. She raises her eyebrows in surprise, I think. I'll have a shower, she mutters. And then as an afterthought, she adds, Thanks. Grabbing the bag, she dodges around me, darts into the bathroom, and locks the door. She couldn't get into that bathroom quick enough. Away from me. Perhaps I'm being too optimistic. Disheartened, I briskly dry off and get dressed. In the living room, I check my email, but there's nothing urgent. I'm interrupted by a knock on the door. 2 young women have arrived from room service. Where would you like breakfast, sir? Set it up on the dining table. Walking back into the bedroom, I catch their furtive looks, but I ignore them and suppress the guilt I feel over how much food I've ordered. We'll never eat it all. Breakfast is here, I call and rap on the bathroom door. Oh, okay. Anna's voice sounds a little muted. Back in the living room, our breakfast is on the table. One of the women, who has dark eyes, hands me the check to sign, and from my wallet I pull a couple of 20s for them. Thank you, ladies. Just call room service when you want the table cleared, sir. Miss Dark Eyes says with a coquettish look, as if she's offering me more. My chilly smile warns her off. Sitting down at the table with a newspaper, I pour myself a coffee and make a start on my omelet. My phone buzzes. A text from Elliot. Kate wants to know if Anna's still alive. I chuckle, somewhat mollified that Anna's so-called friend is thinking about her. It's obvious that Elliot hasn't given his dick a rest after all his protestations yesterday. I text back. Alive and kicking, wink. Anna appears a few moments later, hair wet and a pretty blue blouse that matches her eyes. Taylor has done well. She looks lovely. Scanning the room, she spots her purse. Crap, Kate, she blurts. She knows you're here and still alive. I texted Elliot. She gives me an uncertain smile as she walks toward the table. Sit, I say, pointing to the place that's been set for her. She frowns at the amount of food on the table, which only accentuates my guilt. I didn't know what you liked, so I ordered a selection from the breakfast menu, I muttered by way of an apology. That's very profligate of you, she says. Yes, it is. My guilt blooms, but she opts for the pancakes, scrambled eggs, and bacon with maple syrup and tucks in. I forgive myself. It's good to see her eat. Tea? I ask. Yes, please, she says between mouthfuls. She's obviously famished. I pass her the small teapot of water. She gives me a sweet smile when she notices the Twinings' English breakfast tea. I have to catch myself at her expression. It makes me uneasy. It gives me hope. Your hair is very damp, I observe. I couldn't find the hairdryer, she says, embarrassed. She'll get sick. Thank you for the clothes, she adds. It's a pleasure, Anastasia. The color suits you. She stares down at her fingers. You know, you really should learn to take a compliment. Perhaps she doesn't get many, but why? She's gorgeous in an understated way. I should give you some money for these clothes. What? I glare at her and she continues quickly. You've already given me the books, which of course I can't accept, but these, please let me pay you back. Sweetheart. Anastasia, trust me, I can afford it. That's not the point. Why would you buy these for me? Because I can. I'm a very rich man, Anna. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Her voice is soft, but suddenly I'm wondering if she's looked through me and seen my darkest desires. Why did you send me the books, Christian? Because I wanted to see you again, and here you are. Well, when you were nearly run over by the cyclist, and I was holding you when you were looking up at me, oh, kiss me, Christian. I stop recalling that moment, her body pressed against mine. Shit. Quickly, I shrug off the memory. I felt I owed you an apology and a warning, Anastasia. I'm not a hearts and flowers kind of man. I don't do romance. My tastes are very singular. You should steer clear of me. There's something about you, though, and I'm finding it impossible to stay away. But I think you figured that out already. Then don't, she whispers. What? You don't know what you're saying. Enlighten me, then. Her words travel straight to my cock. Fuck. You're not celibate? She asks. No, Anastasia, I'm not celibate. And if you'd let me tie you up, I'd prove it to you right now. Her eyes widen and her cheeks pink. Oh, Anna. I have to show her. It's the only way I'll know. What are your plans for the next few days? I ask. I'm working today from midday. What time is it? She exclaims in a panic. It's just after 10. You've plenty of time. What about tomorrow? Kate and I are going to start packing. We're moving to Seattle next weekend, and I'm working at Clayton's all this week. You have a place in Seattle already? Yes. Where? I can't remember the address. It's in the Pike Market District. Not far from me. Good. So, what are you going to do for work at Seattle? I've applied for some internships. I'm waiting to hear. Have you applied to my company, as I suggested? No. And what's wrong with my company? Your company or your company? She arches her eyebrow. Are you smirking at me, Miss Steele? I can't hide my amusement. Oh, she'd be a joy to train. Challenging, maddening woman. She examines her plate, chewing at her lip. I'd like to bite that lip, I whisper because it's true. Her face flies to mine as she shuffles in her seat. She tilts her chin toward me and her eyes full of confidence. Why don't you? She says quietly. Oh, don't tempt me, baby. I can't. Not yet. Because I'm not going to touch you, Anastasia. Not until I have your written consent to do so. What does that mean? She asks. Exactly what I say. I need to show you, Anastasia, so you know what you're getting yourself into. What time do you finish work this evening? About 8. Well, we could go to Seattle this evening or next Saturday for dinner at my place, and I'll acquaint you with the facts then. The choice is yours. Why can't you tell me now? Because I'm enjoying my breakfast and your company. Once you're enlightened, you probably won't want to see me again. She frowns as she processes what I've said. Tonight, she says. Whoa, that didn't take long. Like Eve, you're so quick to eat from the tree of knowledge, I taunt her. Are you smirking at me, Mr. Gray? She asks. I look at her through narrowed eyes. Okay, baby, you asked for this. I pick up my phone and press Taylor on the speed dial. He answers almost immediately. Mr. Gray. Taylor, I'm going to need Charlie Tango. She watches me closely as I make arrangements to bring my EC-135 to Portland. I'll show her what I have in mind, and the rest will be up to her. She may want to come home with me once she knows. I'll need Stefan, my pilot, to be on standby so he can bring her back to Portland if she decides to have nothing more to do with me. I hope that's not the case. And it dawns on me that I'm thrilled that I could take her to Seattle in Charlie Tango. It'll be a first. Standby pilot from 2230, I confirm with Taylor and hang up. Do people always do what you tell them? She asks, and the disapproval in her voice is obvious. Is she scolding me? Her challenge is annoying. Usually, if they want to keep their jobs. Don't question how I treat my staff. And if they don't work for you? She asks. Oh, I can be very persuasive, Anastasia. You should finish your breakfast, and then I'll drop you off at home. I'll pick you up at Clayton's at 8 when you finish. We'll fly up to Seattle. Fly? Yes, I have a helicopter. Her mouth drops open, forming a small O. It's a pleasing moment. We'll go by helicopter to Seattle? She whispers. Yes. Why? Because I can. I grin. Sometimes it's just fucking great to be me. Finish your breakfast. She seems stunned. Eat. My voice is more forceful. Anastasia, I have an issue with wasted food. Eat. I can't eat all this. She studies on the food on the table, and I feel guilty once more. Yes, there's too much food here. Eat what's on your plate. If you didn't properly yesterday, you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be declaring my hand so soon. Hell, this could be a huge mistake. She gives me a sideways look as she chases her food around on the plate with the fork, and her mouth twitches. What's so funny? She shakes her head and pops the last piece of pancake into her mouth, and I try not to laugh. As ever, she surprises me. She's awkward, unexpected, and disarming. She really makes me want to laugh, and what's more, it's at myself. Good girl, I mutter. I'll take you home when you've dried your hair. I don't want you getting ill. You'll need all your strength for tonight and for what I have to show you. Suddenly she gets up from the table, and I have to stop myself from telling her that she doesn't have permission. She's not your submissive yet, Gray. On the way back to the bedroom, she pauses by the sofa. Where did you sleep last night? She asks. In my bed, with you. Oh, yes, it was quite a novelty for me, too. Not having sex? She says the S word, and the telltale pink cheeks appear. No. How can I tell her this without it sounding weird? Just tell her, Gray. Sleeping with somebody. Nonchalantly, I turn my attention back to the sports section and the write-up on last night's game, and then watch as she disappears into the bedroom. No, that didn't sound weird at all. Well, I have another date with Miss Steele. No, not a date. She needs to know about me. I let out a long breath and drink what's left of my orange juice. This is shaping up to be a very interesting day. I'm pleased when I hear the buzz of the hairdryer and surprised that she's doing what she's been told. While I'm waiting for her, I phone the valet to bring my car up from the garage and check her address once more on Google Maps. Next, I tell Andrea to send me an NDA via email. If Anna wants enlightenment, she'll need to keep her mouth shut. My phone buzzes. It's Roz. As I'm on the phone, Anna emerges from the bedroom and picks up her purse. Roz is talking about Darfur, but my attention is on Miss Steele. She rummages around in her purse, and she's pleased when she finds the hair tie. Her hair is beautiful, lush, long, thick. Idly, I wonder what it would be like to be braided. She ties it back and puts on her jacket, then sits down on the sofa, waiting for me to finish my call. Okay, let's do it. Keep me abreast of progress. I conclude my conversation with Roz. She's been working miracles, and it looks like our food shipment to Darfur is happening. Ready to go? I ask Anna. She nods. I grab my jacket and car keys and follow her out of the door. She peeks at me through long lashes as we walk toward the elevator, and her lips curl into a shy smile. My lips twitch in response. What the hell is she doing to me? The elevator arrives, and I allow her to step in first. I press the first floor button, and the doors close. In the confines of the elevator, I'm completely aware of her. A trace of her sweet fragrance invades my senses. Her breathing alters, hitching a little, as she peeks up at me with a bright, come-hither look. Shit. She bites her lip. She's doing this on purpose, and for a split second, I'm lost in her sensual, mesmerizing stare. She doesn't back down. I'm hard, instantly. I want her, here, now, in the elevator. Oh, fuck the paperwork. The words come from nowhere, and on an instinct, I grab her and push her against the wall. Clasping both her hands, I pin them above her head so she can't touch me, and once she's secure, I twist my other hand in her hair while my lips seek and find hers. She moans into my mouth, and the call of the siren, and finally, I can sample her, mint and tea, and an orchard of mellow fruitfulness. She tastes every bit as good as she looks, reminding me of a time of plenty. Good Lord, I'm yearning for her. I grasp her chin, deepening the kiss, and her tongue tentatively touches mine, exploring, considering, feeling, kissing me back. Oh, God in heaven, you are so sweet. I murmur against her lips, completely intoxicated, punch-drunk with her scent and taste. The elevator stops and the doors begin to open. Get a fucking grip, Gray. I push myself off her and stand beyond her reach. She's breathing hard, as am I. When was the last time I lost control? 3 men in business suits giving us knowing looks as they join us, and I stare at the poster that's above the buttons in the elevator advertising a sensual weekend at the Heathman. I glance at Anna and exhale. She grins, and my lips twitch once more. What the fuck has she done to me? The elevator stops at the 2nd floor, and the guys get out, leaving me alone with Miss Steele. You brushed your teeth, I observe with wry amusement. I used your toothbrush, she says, eyes shining. Of course she has. For some reason, I find this pleasing. Too pleasing. I stifle my smile. Oh, Anastasia Steele, what am I going to do with you? I take her hand as the elevator doors open on the ground floor, and I mutter under my breath. What is it about elevators? She gives me a knowing look as we stroll across the polished marble of the lobby. The car is waiting in one of the bays in front of the hotel. The valet is pacing impatiently. I give him an obscene tip and open the passenger door for Anna, who is quiet and introspective, but she hasn't run. Even though I jumped her in the elevator, I should say something about what happened in there. But what? Sorry? How was that for you? What the hell are you doing to me? I start the car and decide that the less said, the better. The soothing sound of Delibus's flower duet fills the car, and I begin to relax. What are we listening to? Anna inquires as I turn on Southwest Jefferson Street. I tell her and ask her if she likes it. Christian, it's wonderful. To hear my name on her lips is a strange delight. She said it about a half-dozen times now, and each time it's different. Today, it's with wonder at the music. It's great that she likes this piece. It's one of my favorites. I find myself beaming. She's obviously excused me for the elevator outburst. Can I hear that again? Of course. I tap the touch screen to replay the music. You like classical music? She asks as we cross the Fremont Bridge, and we fall into an easy conversation about my taste in music. While we're talking, I get a call on the hands-free. Gray, I answer. Mr. Gray, it's Welch here. I have the information you require. Oh, yes, the details about the photographer. Good. Email it to me. Anything to add? No, sir. I press the button and the music is back. We both listen, now lost in the raw sounds of the Kings of Leon. But it doesn't last long. Our listening pleasure is disturbed once more by the hands-free. What the hell? Gray, I snap. The NDA has been emailed to you, Mr. Gray. Sorry, guys. The NDA has been emailed to you, Mr. Gray. Good, that's all, Andrea. Good day, sir. Sorry, I thought it was a Roz. It was talking about the NDA. I sneak a look at Anna to see if she's picked up on the conversation, but she's studying the Portland scenery. I suspect she's being polite. It's difficult to keep my eyes on the road. I want to stare at her. For all of her maladroitness, she has a beautiful neckline. One that I'd like to kiss from the bottom of her ear right down to her shoulder. Hell, I shuffle in my seat. I hope she agrees to sign the NDA and to take what I have to offer. When we join the I-5, I get another call. It's Elliot. Hi, Christian. Did you get laid? Oh, smooth, dude. Smooth. Hello, Elliot. I'm on speakerphone and I'm not alone in the car. Who's with you? Anastasia Steele. Hi, Anna. Hello, Elliot, she says, animated. Heard a lot about you, Elliot says. Shit, what has he heard? Don't believe a word Kate says, she responds good-naturedly. Elliot laughs. I'm dropping Anastasia off now. Shall I pick you up? I interject. There's no doubt Elliot will want to make a quick getaway. Sure. See you shortly, I hang up. Why do you insist on calling me Anastasia? She asks. Because it's your name. I prefer Anna. Do you now? Anna is too everyday and ordinary for her, too familiar. Those three letters have the power to wound. And in that moment, I know that her rejection, when it comes, will be hard to take. It's happened before, but I've never felt this invested. I don't even know this girl, but I want to know her, all of her. Maybe it's because I've never chased a woman. Gray, get control of yourself and follow the rules, otherwise this will all go to shit. Anastasia, I say, ignoring her disapproving look. What happened in the elevator, it won't happen again. Well, not unless it's premeditated. That keeps her quiet as I park outside her apartment. Before she can answer me, I climb out of the car, walk around, and open her door. As she steps onto the sidewalk, she gives me a fleeting glance. I like what happened in the elevator, she says. You did? Her confession halts me in my tracks. I'm pleasantly surprised again by little Miss Steele. As she walks up the steps to the front door, I have to scramble to keep up with her. Elliot and Kate look up when we enter. They're sitting in the dining table in a sparsely furnished room, befitting a couple of students. There are a few packing boxes beside a bookshelf. Elliot looks relaxed, and I'm not in a hurry to leave, which surprises me. Kavanaugh jumps up and gives me a critical once-over as she hugs Anna. What did she think I was going to do to the girl? I know what I'd like to do to her. As Kavanaugh holds her at arm's length, I'm reassured. Maybe she does care for Anna, too. Good morning, Christian, she says, her tone cool and condescending. Miss Kavanaugh, and what I want to say is something sarcastic about how she's finally showing some interest in her friend, but I hold my tongue. Christian, her name is Kate, Elliot says with mild irritation. Kate, I mutter to be polite. Elliot hugs Anna, holding her for a moment too long. Hi, Anna, he says, all fucking smiles. Hi, Elliot, she beams. Okay, this is becoming unbearable. Elliot, we'd better go. Take your hands off her. Sure, he says, releasing Anna but grabbing Kavanaugh and making an unseemly show of kissing her. Oh, for fuck's sake. Anna's uncomfortable watching them. I don't blame her. But when she turns to me, it's with a speculative look through narrowed eyes. What is she thinking? Laters, baby, Elliot mutters, slobbering over Kavanaugh. Dudes, show some dignity, for heaven's sake. Anna's reproachful eyes are on mine, and for a moment, I don't know if it's because of Elliot or Kate's lascivious display, or... Hell, this is what she wants, to be courted and wooed. I don't do romance, sweetheart. A lock of her hair is broken free, and without thinking, I tuck it behind her ear. She leans her face into my fingers. The tender gesture surprises me. My thumb strays to her soft bottom lip, which I'd like to kiss again, but I can't. Not until I have her consent. Laters, baby, I whisper, and her face softens with a smile. I'll pick you up at 8. Reluctantly, I turn away and open the front door. Elliot behind me. Man, I need some sleep, Elliot says as soon as we're in the car. That woman is voracious. Really? My voice drips with sarcasm. The last thing I want is a blow-by-blow account of his assignation. How about you, hotshot? Did she pop your cherry? I give him a sideways, fuck off glare. Elliot laughs. Man, you were one uptight son of a bitch. He pulls his sounder's cap over his face and nestles down into the seat for a nap. I turn up the volume of the music. Sleep through that, Lelliot. Yeah, I envy my brother. His ease with women, his ability to sleep, and the fact that he's not the son of a bitch. Jose Luis Rodriguez's background check reveals a ticket for possession of marijuana. There's nothing in his police records for sexual harassment. Maybe last night would have been a first if I hadn't intervened. And the little prick smokes weed? I hope he doesn't smoke around Anna, and I hope she doesn't smoke, period. Opening Andrea's email, I send the NDA to the printer in my study at home in Escala. Anna will need to sign it before I show her my playroom, and in a moment of weakness or hubris, or perhaps unprecedented optimism, I don't know which, I fill in her name and address on my standard dumb subcontract and send that to print too. There's a knock at the door. Hey, hotshot, let's go hiking. Elliot says through the door. Ah, the child has woken from his nap. The scent of pine, fresh damp earth, and late spring is a balm to my senses. The smell reminds me of those heady days of my childhood of running through the forest with Elliot and my sister Mia under the watchful eyes of our adoptive parents. The quiet, the space, the freedom, the scrunch of dry pine needles underfoot. Here in the great outdoors, I could forget. Here was a refuge from my nightmares. Elliot chatters away, needing only the occasional grunt from me to keep talking. As we make our way along the pebbled shore of the Willamette, my mind strays to Anastasia. For the first time in a long time, I have a sweet sense of anticipation. I'm excited. Will she say yes to my proposal? I picture her sleeping beside me, soft and small, and my cock twitches with expectation. I could have woken her and fucked her then. What a novelty that would have been. I'll fuck her in time. I'll fuck her bound with her smart mouth gagged. Clayton's is quiet. The last customer left 5 minutes ago, and I'm waiting, again, drumming my fingers on my thighs. Patience is not my forte. Even the long hike with Elliot today was not dampened by my restlessness. He's having dinner with Kate this evening at the Heathman. 2 dates on consecutive nights is not his usual style. Suddenly, the fluorescent lights inside the store flicker off, and the front door opens, and Anna steps out into the mild Portland evening. My heart begins to hammer. This is it. Either the beginning of a new relationship or the beginning of the end. She waves goodbye to a young woman who's followed her out. It's not the same man I met the last time I was here. It's someone new. He watches her. Oh, a young man that's followed her out. I was wondering why that didn't make sense. It's not the same man I met the last time I was here. It's someone new. He watches her walk toward the car, his eyes on her ass. Taylor distracts me by making a move to climb out of the car, but I stop him. This is my call. When I'm out of the car, holding the door open for her, the new guy is locking up the store and no longer ogling Miss Steele. Her lips curve into a shy smile as she approaches, her hair in a jaunty ponytail swinging in the evening breeze. Good evening, Miss Steele. Mr. Gray, she says. She's dressed in black jeans. Jeans again. She greets Taylor as she climbs into the back seat of the car. Once I'm beside her, I clasp her hand while Taylor pulls out onto the empty road and heads to the Portland helipad. How was work? I ask, enjoying the feel of her hand in mine. Very long, she says, her voice husky. Yes, it's been a long day for me, too. It's been hell waiting these last couple hours. What did you do? She asked. I went hiking with Elliot. Her hand is warm and soft. She glances down at our joined fingers, and I brush her knuckles with my thumb over and over. Her breath catches, and her eyes meet mine. In them, I see her longing and desire, and her sense of anticipation. I just hope she accepts my proposal. Mercifully, the drive to the helipad is short. When we're out of the car, I take her hand again. She looks a little perplexed. She's wondering where the helicopter might be. Ready? I ask. She nods, and I lead her into the building toward the elevator. She gives me a quick, knowing look. She's remembering the kiss from this morning, but then, so am I. It's only 3 floors, I mutter. As we stand inside, I make a mental note to fuck her in an elevator one day. That's if she agrees to my deal. On the roof, Charlie Tango, newly arrived from Boeing Field, is prepped and ready to fly. There's no sign of Stefan, who's brought her down here. But Joe, who runs the helipad in Portland, is in a small office. He salutes when I see him. He's older than my grandpa, and what he doesn't know about flying is not worth knowing. He flew Sikorsky's in Korea for casualty evacuations, and boy, does he have some hair-raising stories. Here's your flight plan, Mr. Gray, he says, his gravelly voice betraying his age. All external checks are done. She's ready and waiting, sir. You're good to go. Thank you, Joe. A quick glance at Anna tells me that she's excited, and so am I. This is a first. Let's go. With her hand in mine once more, I lead Anna over to the helipad to Charlie Tango. The safest Eurocopter in her class and a delight to fly. She's my pride and joy. I hold the door open for Anna. She scrambles inside, and I climb in behind her. Over there, I order, pointing to the front passenger seat. Sit. Don't touch anything. I'm amazed when she does as she's told. Once in her seat, she examines the array of instruments with a mixture of awe and enthusiasm. Crouching down beside her, I strap her into the seat harness, trying not to imagine her naked as I do it. I take a little longer than is necessary because this might be my last chance to get this close to her, my last chance to inhale her sweet, evocative scent. Once she knows about my predilections, she may flee. On the other hand, she may embrace the lifestyle. The possibilities this conjures in my mind are almost overwhelming. She's watching me intently. She's so close, so lovely. I tighten the last strap. She's not going anywhere. Not for an hour, at least. Suppressing my excitement, I whisper, You're secure. No escaping. She inhales sharply. Breathe, Anastasia, I add, and caress her cheek. Holding her chin, I lean down and kiss her quickly. I like this harness, I mutter. I want to tell her I have others, and leather, in which I'd like to see her trussed and suspended from the ceiling. But I behave, sit down and buckle up. Put your cans on. I point to the headset in front of Anna. I'm just going through the pre-flight checks. All instruments look good. I press the throttle to 1500 RPM, transponder to standby, and position beacon on. Everything is set and ready to go. Do you know what you're doing? She asks with wonder. I inform her that I've been a fully qualified pilot for 4 years. Her smile is infectious. You're safe with me, I reassure her and add, well, while we're flying. I give her a wink. She beams, and I'm dazzled. Are you ready? I ask. I can't quite believe how excited I am to have her here beside me. She nods. I talk to the tower. They're awake and increase the throttle to the 2000 RPM. Once they've given us clearance, I do my final checks. Oil temperature is at 104. Good. I increase the manifold pressure to 14, the engine to 2500 RPM, and pull back on the throttle, and like the elegant bird she is, Charlie Tango rises into the air. Anastasia gasps as the ground disappears below us, but she holds her tongue, entranced by the waning lights of Portland. Soon we are shrouded in darkness. The only light emanates from the instruments before us. Anna's face is illuminated by the red and green glow as she stares into the night. Eerie, isn't it? Though I don't find it so. To me this is comfort. Nothing can harm me here. I'm safe and hidden in the dark. How do you know we're going the right way? Anna asks. Here. I point to the panel. I don't want to bore her talking about instrument flight rules, but the fact is it's all the equipment in front of me that guides us to our destination. The altitude indicator, the altimeter, the VSI, and of course the GPS. I tell her about Charlie Tango and how she's equipped for night flight. Anna looks at me amazed. There's a helipad on top of the building I live in. That's where we're heading. I look back at the panel, checking all the data. This is what I love. The control. My safety and well-being reliant on my mastery of the technology in front of me. When you fly at night, you fly blind. You have to trust the instrumentation, I tell her. How long will the flight be? She asks, a little breathless. Less than an hour. The wind is in our favor. I glance at her again. You okay, Anastasia? Yes, she says, her voice oddly abrupt. She nervous? Or maybe she's regretting her decision to be here with me. The thought is unsettling. She hasn't given me a chance. I'm distracted by air traffic control for a moment. Then as we clear cloud cover, I see Seattle in the distance, a beacon blazing in the dark. Look over there. I direct Anna's attention to the bright lights. Do you always impress women like this? Come and fly in my helicopter? I've never brought a girl up here, Anastasia. It's another first for me. Are you impressed? I'm awed, Christian, she whispers. Awed? My smile is spontaneous, and I remember Grace, my mother, stroking my hair as I read out loud from the Once and the Future King. Christian, that was wonderful. I'm awed, darling boy. I was 7 and had only recently started speaking. You're just so competent, Anna continues. Why, thank you, Miss Steele. My face warms with pleasure at her unexpected praise. I hope she doesn't notice. You obviously enjoy this, she says a little later. What? Flying. It requires control and concentration, 2 qualities I most enjoy. How can I not love it? Though my favorite is soaring. Soaring? Yes, gliding. To the layperson, gliders and helicopters, I fly them both. Perhaps I should take her soaring. Getting ahead of yourself, Gray. And since when do you take anyone soaring? Since when do I bring anyone in Charlie Tango? ATC refocuses on my flight path, halting my rogue thoughts as we approach the outskirts of Seattle. We're close, and I'm closer to knowing whether this is a pipe dream or not. Anna is staring out the window, entranced. I can't keep my eyes off her. Please say yes. Looks good, doesn't it? I ask, so that she'll turn and I can see her face. She does, and with a huge cock-tightening grin. We'll be there in a few minutes, I add. Suddenly the atmosphere in the cabin shifts, and I have a more heightened awareness of her. Breathing deeply, I inhale her scent, the sense of anticipation. Anna's, mine. As we descend, I take Charlie Tango through the downtown area toward Escala, my home, and my heart rate increases. Anna starts fidgeting. She's nervous, too. I hope she doesn't flee. Well, I guess on the next episode we will find out if Anna flees. She doesn't. But until then, until part 2 of chapter 6, this is Couch Potato Mike reminding you guys that in the end, we're all stories. So let's make them good ones. See you next time.